Welcome back to Saga of Three Kings, session 94, Intentions in Shadow. Last session, the group did a couple of bounces, hops, and skips, ending up in a couple of different locations, ultimately terminating in the town, or city rather. Is it a town? Is it a city? It is actually now a city, if you were to ask the official documentarians. It is a city at last. The party ended up there. They had engaged in some business regarding the family, regarding family, and also family. But yeah, I believe their business is concluded, and at the end of last session, they were kind of discussing moving on from this point, moving on past Benish, and I think I kind of put it to them to give me a direction. I think I know that direction, but I'm still going to put it to you regardless. Who knows? You'll throw some kind of random crazy thing that you want to do, like fight a Leviathan or go see someone's parents for some reason. I mean, who knows? Who knows? We might do that. We could. It's possible. But no, for real. Where do you want to go?
I believe we're headed back toward Mountain's Toe. The
It's
lair
a
of
stone
Orvicus.
thing.
That was the last place we had confirmation of finding Orvicus. I don't know if she lives there, but
No, I believe that was confirmed to be her lair. That's why she summoned two other dragons to murder.
well, she was out at the time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we confirmed her lair was Stonefang, though, and that was just an area she was protecting. It's like right at the end of the swamp area, right past the shrine.
The Mountain's Toe mission was how we ended up finding it the first time. I think you're right.
Yeah.
We did walk out.
You might be right.
No, we went to Mountain Toe and we went into Mountain Toe, but there was something in there being protected by the dark or by a different set of orcs, and
Dwarves.
then those orcs.
They works.
And then and because we killed a bunch of them,
Killed
and they had a troll or something. But we went in there, and then she came flying from I think the south to attack us. So, and I'm pretty sure Grok also confirmed in a library that Stonefang was her lair. And so I feel like if we go to Stonefang, we have a better chance of her peacefully talking. Whereas if we go to Mountain's Toe, which is a place she already attacked us at, she'll probably attack us again.
Okay, just to confirm, is everybody behind Brent on the note taking, or do you want to go to Mountains? I'm not telling you which way, one or the other.
Right. Another, if we're not 100% sure, and I'd have to look back in my notes to see where exactly. We could always go see Demise and maybe have him set up a meet. That's another option, but it would take a little longer.
Are we teleporting walking or wind walking?
I do miss walking.
Say again?
It's up to you guys.
Method of travel.
The spell teleport can get you to Mountain's Toe. Yeah. It could get you to Demise's location.
We don't have a circle on Mountain's Toe.
You don't need a circle. Teleport. The spell teleport.
Yeah.
Okay. Teleport happens unerringly if the person has been there. So since Benson has been to Mountain's Toe, and Benson has been to Demise's lair up in the north, well, formerly Alron's lair, he can teleport without error, basically, to those locations. But if you're going to a place that was just described to you, there's a percentage chance that you fucking flop.
Okay. If you guys don't mind, we should probably use sending and go ahead and disband the group we left at the Bastion. Unless they already have. Because we kind of just left all those people out there.
Yeah, I don't imagine anything's making an escape out of the Bastion of Broken Clothes.
Dark Flames.
So in my notes, I have about Orbicus south of Mountain's Toe, the very top of the Narrows River to the west, something.
Sounds like Stonefang then. If we don't know for sure her lair's in Stonefang, we should at least poke our heads in, because we got mad trespass on Mountain's Toe.
Yeah, like I feel like if we had went to her lair, she would have at least started to try to talk to us. She didn't even try to talk in Mountain's Toe. She just came in to attack.
Oh, we didn't give her a shot at talking.
John, what's the name of this river that's running to the west of Mountain's Toe? Stonefang?
The long river that descends from the top all the way down?
Yeah.
It's Ice Fang's runoff.
Thank you.
But the small
so
little divot that pops off of it
Yes.
near Stonefang is called the Narrows.
Okay, great. So south of Mountain's Toe, the very top of the Narrows. That's sort of where he is.
If we use sending to disband the coalition, one of them can also tell us which one to go to. Because the Sharps, Blue Blues, and Dark Flame all kind of work with or for her. I mean, some of them are literally her neighbors. Dark Flame was trying to call her last time we were there.
Just let me know what you're doing.
Cody's got the only cell phone.
I'll send him and let him know.
Who are you sending a message to?
Kelgar.
The
He's the
chieftain he
Dark Flame
traveled with.
Chieftain.
Kelgar was the name of the individual. You've met with him, so you can do so without a problem. Do you send the message back to him?
Yeah, I do.
No reply.
Oh, hell. Would he know what that means?
He would know that it's basically like a disconnect. So you're calling someone who is either not on the plane. Actually, you can pass through planes, so you're contacting someone that's not alive.
Fuck.
He's dead.
Oh, Kelgar.
Well.
That pissed me off.
You want to try the unnamed leader of the Blue Blues that traveled with us for a couple days?
That's one first third level slot. Please take note.
All right. Yeah, I can try him. Yeah.
The chieftain of the Blue Blues, you said?
Could be an unnamed leader that walked with us from Armskirk into the Bastion.
Good call. Okay. No response.
All right, they're all dead.
Yeah, this isn't looking good.
Okay. Well.
We are all out of friends.
Oh.
Well, I'd like to check on that situation. But we did aim to get with Orbicus. I don't know what came out of the Bastion. Because they were asked to stick around there.
Out of the Bastion.
I know one guy who came and went as he pleased.
I guess that's true. There is that one.
Your presumption, based on what was happening at the end of the conflict, and your collective control of the location after returning Galagos to the Comus Palatinis through the woods and having some of them kind of killed off, the Palatinis probably left, so they're probably not even there. And it
They
was
left
kind of
before we did.
Yeah, they were
Most of them left
basically
with Galagos.
Yeah, they were basically gone. Most of them had to block, had to hoof it. Some of them were able to go through portal passaging, but yeah, the Blue Blues and Sharps, were still kind of in their area. What their business was, you weren't sure, but the Dark Flames were basically posted by you outside of the mouth of the Doom Vault, which on your notable investigation had some very powerful creatures inside.
Should we postpone the Orbicus meet?
That's fine.
To go see what happened with him.
That's fine with me.
You have a couple of different methods to arrive directly at the Bastion. You can teleport through plants with the Druid, or you can cast teleport to get there directly. But no other magical means will get you there.
Windwalk.
Windwalk will be a walk, yeah.
We've been to Armskirk, right?
You have, but again, it'll just be teleport as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no circles anywhere and around. The closest circle is actually where you're at. Basically,
yeah.
basically where you're at. Bellum and Banish are basically equidistant.
I'm okay with walking, but
That is a couple of days.
somebody
I got it. Let's go ahead and cast teleport.
Okay. Directly to the bastion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're all dead.
Go ahead and get your attunements ready and everything.
Yeah.
So we pivot to the Doom Vault.
Yeah. I'm attuned to the
change
sword.
of plans
Can use
there,
the
Bert.
dagger.
Although we don't know how to get into it, but yeah.
Didn't you already go in once?
Yes, but the keys have changed. There was a whole process getting in the first time.
Someone breaks into your house, you don't just leave the lock the same, I mean. Like if they, mess with them. So you arrive outside the bastion. Absolutely not to your surprise, but to your horror, you do see that the remnants of the Sharp, Blue, and Dark Flame individuals that were stationed here appear to be blasted all over the place. Wreck, ruin, tents are torn apart, individuals are split in half. Some of their top portions are missing. The absolute slaughter that's on display here, you've only seen once before, and that was in the town of Barod at the behest of a dragon. The slaughter was initiated by a massive and very powerful being.
So could we assume then, from what we know of dragons and fighting with dragons and Grok's service of a dragon, that this was likely a dragon attack?
Your assumption would be that it has to have been something that was dragon-sized.
Got it.
If you want to actually investigate the area, you can roll either investigation, survival,
Okay.
or perception, and depending on which skill you choose, depends on what results you can
I could do
glean.
perception. I suggest Raya do investigation.
I shall.
And if you are trained in it, you can help anyone else in this
I rolled a
instance.
30.
25.
I'm not assisting in that at all if they're doing it.
Anybody want to do
Survival.
Survival is the last one.
Best I could do would be if there's any remains, I
I
could maybe
could
see
assist-
how they were inflicted, like how
Like-
they got eviscerated or blasted.
Very good note. Real quick, backtrack. Brent, your notes were exactly on point. I was trying to get them to make a decision to where they were going to go in the volley there. So I just want to give you inspiration real quick on your notes being perfect, by the way.
I don't even keep notes. I was just trying to remember that from
Well,
the back of my head.
if you do that from the back of your memory, then you earn that inspiration even harder. You nailed exactly what was said and where the dragon was. Yeah, you
Good
remember.
job, Brent.
You even remember that the dragon was coming from the southwest, going towards Mountain Stowe, and then it summoned the other dragons as it was coming towards you. It was coming from its lair. So inspiration there, and then medicine check, absolutely, and gain inspiration too. That's a really good idea. Good
I
process.
can
there.
help you with the medicine check. I'm trained in it.
So you have advantage, Steve.
Thanks, nurse.
I was trained in perception.
Whoa.
I look really good in some scrubs.
That's a compliment. I will.
All right, he's into it.
I'm taking the Rookman Candy Striper thought. Anyways,
Got a
medicine
cool
25.
shirt on, but it's ripped because he's huge.
Holy shit. Okay, a lot's coming out here. So first off, Raya, you are a master of the kind of techniques that were put on display here. You can see that the whole looks like a number of individuals, smaller and larger creatures, had exited the Doom Vault's mouth and maneuvered around the camp. And you can tell based on the maneuvering and positioning, they were basically setting up at some point while the watch was not in effect or was put out of commission and waited for an exact moment to strike. Everything that's on display here shows a precise ambush that was initiated from out or from inside of the mouth out. Perception lets you note that there are no survivors. No one was able to escape. No one was routed. Everything was put to the death here. And the two of you both note that it doesn't look like it's only large bestial attacks. There do look like there are a number of other attacks that are present here. There are blades that have been used, very similar in styling to the blade cuts and strikes that were on display in the back here. There are also large, massive biting attacks and ripping and rending. On like an outside perspective, yes, very draconic. But as you look at it more, Grok, you recognize that they're too small to be like a true dragon. Your assumption is if it is a true dragon, it's like a young dragon or a wormling. But your actual thought process leans more towards like drakes or something of that effect. And again, this is information that Raya would also glean in the investigation process. The real kicker is the medicine check that is utilized. As you're inspecting these corpses and looking them all over, they haven't been dead more than 5 hours. So this happened.
All right.
This happened last night.
So somebody ambushed and annihilated over 1,000 of our soldiers.
You bet.
And it came out of the Doom Vault? Was the...
You bet.
There
I
are
don't think
no.
I don't think our numbers are in the thousands anymore.
We had at least 500 orcs.
500 orcs.
Plus your blue, plus your sharp, and
200.
some Paladins left.
Yeah, the 100 Thomas Palatines left. It was about 900.
Okay,
I thought a
even
bunch of them
still,
died in the
is there
first
not
one.
a single
No. Sorry, Jeremy.
corpse that we don't recognize?
Jeremy does have a point. There are a shit ton of people that were gone before then. It's actually closer to 700, but still, the number is massive.
That is a lot of people.
The answer to your question, no. There are no corpses that are not sharps, blues, or dark flames.
For other members of the party, he said that the blades reminded him of the Behir. What is? Could you refresh my memory?
The
there?
BB Bahir was the tavern where Galagos was first taken. There were a bunch of dead people and large strokes of massive blade attacks. Those attacks are very much on display here.
So that means from Galagos?
No.
No, like
No.
The bastard
ogres
elf
or
that
giant
killed me.
fin things.
Oh,
we
the
met
elf,
at the
elf.
beer and
The elf and his followers. That's what did it.
Did you say there was a bar called Bahir, or you think it was a Bahir?
No, the bar called the Beefy Bahir. Sorry, it's on the
small
The tavern inn in the middle of.
It should be on the map.
Yeah,
It's-
just off of the map, just off of the fens here.
That's an ominous name for a tavern.
Well, do you want the backstory on it?
It looked like a nice place.
You can go watch the old episode and get it.
I did spend a lot of time talking about how the name of it came to be. You can thank Dieter.
We're here for now. These guys aren't far away. I'm never hiring this group again. I had one job.
You're just mad because your title doesn't mean it. The orcs were dead at work.
The other thing you'll note as you're kind of going through the investigation is that the atmosphere, climate, is a bit different than it has been the times you were here. It was very rainy before, if you recall, when you were kind of making your way through the camps, and that rain kind of persisted for a while, but now it's very foggy. And your investigation is thorough, but it does feel like there's a lot of it. There's a very large chance that some of the people who were kind of trying to escape, like the very last of it that was being dealt with, weren't able to get very far because they couldn't see very far. Kind of like they were bottled in by the elements.
So the fog is magical.
It does appear to be.
It's not similar to the fog that we went into and went to that train, is it?
It is not the mists. No,
Okay.
How long will a magical fog typically last?
just depends. Sometimes fog of an obscuring nature can be summoned, kind of just left to remain. Sometimes it's a durational effect that's concentrated on. This appears to be the latter, or the former, not the latter.
Okay,
Rock
so this
bundles
is
up some
natural
herb.
fog, supernaturally put here.
Yes.
Can I divine sense?
Um,
Will it give me anything around us?
yeah, you use your charge of divine sense. Nothing interesting, nothing crazy.
Okay.
While they're
So
doing
there's
their
nothing really crazy going
investigations,
around us.
I'm gonna bundle up some herbs and make it into a little bundle and light them on fire and say a prayer to Halloween for all the dead here.
I got a lot of bodies to burn.
Do I see anything glowing with my glasses?
Nope.
I can help with the prayer.
Cody, you're coming in quiet.
Yeah, you are. The magic is kind of lingering on the fog. You're able to kind of suss out that it was conjured. If you'd like to make an Arcana check, you can.
26.
It's actually more of a smoke than a fog. It just seems that the actual real fog seems to have mixed in with the smoke that was brought. And you would very clearly identify that this was generated by at least one, if not multiple, ever-smoking bottles, which is a magical item that can basically generate smoke when the cork is pulled off of it. out of character. You, as a actual people, have seen one before. You had one in the Tome of Annihilation game.
Is that better on my sound?
Yes, much better.
So, angry revenge or talk to a dragon?
I'm kind of feeling some angry revenge here, personally.
That's 2 votes, angry revenge.
As you
I
kind of
also want to do Angry Revenge.
as you kind of all collectively gather to like make the cool guy walk towards the door, you know, that really dramatic, like, you know, standing like in your places and walking towards the door, and like the camera's kind of like zoomed on you, kind of turns about and looks down the chute, and you actually see that at the pretty much base of the steps, it looks like there's been a forced cave-in. Looks like they've actually shut the Doom Vault.
I don't like that.
Well, that's unfulfilling.
Would I
Damn it.
know if plane shift can get me in? Can get us in?
It's a good question. It definitely got you out. You can certainly try.
So that is an option. That would be my big. I blow my 7th level spell, my 1 slot on that, but that is an option.
Unless it's too specific a location.
Correct. You'd be saying the Doom Vault, but it's interesting because the dimension that it's on, you're not 100% certain of. That's why it's
Okay.
my discretion where you appear.
How severe
at
is the cave-in?
and around. Pretty severe. Remember, there was
nothing we're getting in through.
If you have a means of moving stone,
I do.
You can certainly try, but it definitely does look like the cave-in has brought in a lot of the fortification above it down into the stairwell.
I don't actually change.
There's likely a second door.
Since I've been inside of the Doom Vault, I can teleport into it, right?
No, because teleport is on the same plane. You knew that you were in a different plane of different dimension.
Right.
The only way you got out was casting plane shift. Yeah.
You got Mold Earth?
I switched out my spells, and I don't have that one where it turns rocks into mud, kind of a thing.
I was just thinking if somebody had like Mold Earth, they could open up the door.
It depends on how much rock is on top of the door, too.
I believe I have Stone Shape, but it's not prepared, so.
That only does 5 feet.
Hey, it's worked in other games.
It has. And it took us 2 months to do it.
But you still did it.
Sure did.
You guys want to spend 2 months getting back into this bitch.
Pretty fucked up that you'll ever get away with this.
It's for the players.
No, there has to be a second door. They wouldn't close their only means of leaving.
Have we been inside the bastion itself?
The physical location? No.
Exactly. It was all busted up. You and I climbed over it and you flew over it.
Yeah, there were no internals, though. The only place that had an entrance was here.
Okay, I remember there was a ruined wall. I didn't realize we...
They're basically external, like, battlements that are kind of like... they're like ramparts. There's, like, defensive walls. But they're all kind of, like, grown over and kind of set into the forest. And they were all basically surrounding this courtyard with this statue, which has been moved aside. And, like, parts of the fortification, because remember, it kind of delved down into like the big pyramid-shaped, or not pyramid-shaped, like rhombus-shaped building thing. The stairs descended down into that, and it looks like it's fallen a little bit, and the cave-in has kind of caused a bit of it to sink into the earth. But you haven't been into the big block. There's no entrance to that we discussed.
Unless you guys want to wash your hands of this problem, I'd like to search the area. See if there's not another entrance, not some clue. All the investigation, any kind of tracks or anything, just showed them using that entrance, correct?
Correct.
We're here, we might as well.
You've never seen anybody exit this place. The only time that you've actually had someone exit this place was what's her name, and the only time that you've seen someone enter this place was you guys.
What was her?
Yeah, I don't remember.
She was a mark.
It was Shalendra.
Damn,
Perfect.
Andy.
Notes.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast the telepathic bond so we can look around and make sure we can talk to each other as soon as that happens.
Okay. You're inviting your new companion into the group chat
Inviting? He's been following me the whole damn time.
Well, you haven't put him in the group
Oh, I
chat.
did a group chat. I'm sorry.
He's wearing that creepy mask.
That's
We've
up
seen
to
his face.
Benson.
He ain't cracking with us.
Yes in the group chat or no in the group chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rary's
Sure.
telepathic bond, Steve. You're all connected
Ooh.
telepathically now. And then?
Last time we did this, it didn't work. All right, I'm going to start at the statue and see if there's riddles or anything that lead to an alternate entrance.
Just the Elvish words Doom
Spread
Vault
out.
on the base.
Search around the back of the place. Check along the wall.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you just kind of precisely what you're looking for, and we're going to go from left to right on the screen as I can see it. So, Zach, what is Shambles looking for specifically? Another entrance?
Any kind of drains, sewers, things like that.
Okay.
Mostly.
Andy, what are you looking for specifically?
I'm saying I'm still doing a prayer for the dead. I was praying to Eloane, just
Okay.
doing that thing.
Jeremy?
Entry point.
Okay.
Alternate.
Chode?
I'll also be looking for entry point, maybe scratches on stone or things where things have been moved or anything.
Okay.
Footprints, whatever.
We're going to pair you two up. One of you has very keen eyes, one of you has magic eyes, so sounds good. And Steve?
I will ponder the construction of the wall. If there's anything I may have read about its construction in the past or
Okay.
the capital.
Brett?
Just to be sure, did we already take care of the bodies before we started searching, or not?
That's what Grok is doing, so
Okay, I'll help Grok with taking care of the bodies.
the two of you are helping each other. Okay, so then I want the two of you to go ahead and just make an intelligence check. And pick your representative who's doing it, and that person will have advantage because the two of you are combining the brain cells.
So this is Grok and Rooklyn?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I have
I have a +0 to
I have
intelligence.
okay, well then I guess I should do it. So
They're gonna burn down a swamp.
That's what I was trying to do from the
19,
start.
okay.
You
Not bad.
you kind of overheard Raya and Shambles in disbelief talking about like they killed 700 people in the middle of the night. Not a single person escaped. And as you're kind of going over the numbers, there aren't that many people here. There's maybe like 270.
Do we see
So-
drag marks like people have been dragged away?
Doesn't appear to be any.
We do remember that he can make zombies, or
When
some
did he
kind
do
of like.
that?
That's what we fought, wasn't it? At the Beefy
thought
Bear
they
Hill,
were
we
like-
fought like
They were soldiers,
Half
right?
giants or something.
there was a mix of them, but they seemed. I'm pretty sure I remember somebody doing some kind of check, and they seemed zombie-like in the
I
check.
think they were zombie soldiers.
There were
the first
things
one.
that ate each other and maybe ate some of these soldiers.
Brent once again is on point with the notes, and also would have noted that the very first room had examples of the ability to control things. The notation specifically was when it was looked at by the true-seeing glasses, there was a strange meat ring atop their heads with eyes upon it.
Oh, that thing.
Once we realize this, we'll put it over the telepathic bond that he's probably got some of the soldiers either controlled or zombified by now.
Brent,
Many of them.
if you'd like to give one of these peasant idiots inspiration, you can.
Who doesn't have inspiration?
Brent, you're really shining today. Jeremy's like
Does
Got
it-
inspiration.
Okay.
thinking about how to kill
I
it.
No,
have
I'm
it
on
as
board. I
well.
agreed with him. I remember the
Oh.
zombie thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm often wrong.
It's
I
the other Wilbur that was the bad one. So, got it.
yeah, no, I'm done with bricks, man.
Chody, do you have inspiration?
I do. Thank you, though.
Jeremy?
I do not.
Okay, there you go.
Well, he was on your team, so that makes sense. There was a certain display of strange death manipulation and also control over people who weren't willing.
The Black Fens in general was associated with zombies
Yeah.
from the start.
Well, I don't listen. So how?
It's
I know,
why.
it's fine.
It's why when you
Why the rest of us are here.
which why when you reappeared at the point on the road where you killed the giants corpses were missing.
I don't even remember that. And that sounds like a huge detail.
2 hexes due north at the river
Mhm.
fort.
I remember we fought him. One pitched me at a tree.
Yeah, I don't remember how that happened. Moving on.
It was a storm
I'm
giant.
mad at you, but at the same time, goddamn, that was funny.
I mean, it's not bicycle kick a shark into the sky.
Yeah,
but
but
it's
the
pretty
son
rad.
of a bitch enlarged a cloud giant.
fucking shit.
Classic.
But yeah, it does look like, as you're searching, the rest of you, no rolls are necessary. There are no other entrances here.
Yeah.
But as you're kind of becoming frustrated with that, Benson, you think to yourself, the place you're trying to get to isn't physically beneath you.
No, right. It's extra dimensional. So if there's another entry point, it could be literally anywhere in the multiverse.
Well, yeah, exactly. Or anywhere on this plane.
And we found out about those doors that are just for that, so they could be using that, maybe?
Potentially. I think I understand your question.
I don't.
I'm nodding my head a little bit.
Reseeable portals.
Oh, right. Yes. Correct. The conglomerate style portals, correct.
Yeah.
If that's not going well, I'll head back and help them burn bodies for a little while.
Burn down a swamp.
As we've
More hands
discussed,
makes less work.
the swamp is not very combustible, for fuck's sake.
As soon as we get 270 bodies on fire together, it's going to start drying out.
Not the...
A slow burn, but a certain one.
Today. I just said we're burning it down. I got a 700-year lifespan now.
Like a 30-mile wide swamp. Like
you know how to get to Carnegie Hall?
Anyway, if you are, because the normal practice in Osiria, the two of you would know, for corpses, is after performing last rites, it is to burn them. That is accurate. So that they cannot be brought back to become horrible abominations. You would know that that's true of goblin kind in the area. They also have the same similar tradition, unless they have family that their bodies are being sent to. And again, you would have to do a lot of research per corpse to be able to suss out which members are sharp, which ones are blue, where they would go, and who they were.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
If you want to go through that process, we can definitely turn the game into bookkeeping, the return the goblin corpses to where they go game, but that's up to you.
We'll just send a letter to each camp and let them know that we burned everything we could find.
Once this kind of gets to your mind, Grok and Rooklyn, is there anything that you have question-wise about the remaining 270 and the lacking 500 or so people?
Is there anything that would sort of distinguish them from the people who we feel like are missing? Is it mostly blues? Is it mostly sharps? Is it mostly dark flames, or what?
It's mostly goblins. There are a smattering of dark flame orcs within, and it looks like, as macabre as it's going to sound, it looks like what's left of them isn't very usable.
So it's been hacked up to such a point where they
bit
can
in half,
reanimate it.
or like it's missing its arms, like somebody ripped its arms out of its sockets, or something like that.
They cherry pick the most useful corpses.
These are the dregs. Oh
I'm
boy.
with you.
This is the leftovers. The goblins, there are still some that are still in like kind of full,
But they're goblins.
But
They still have like any like personal items on them, or were they stripped?
Nobody's items were taken from them. If you want to,
Does anybody have a pretty empty bag of holding? Because I would like to, when we send letters.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's so much material here amongst the 2-something people that a bag of holding is not going to do it. And also the spears of the Sharp tribe, when put into a bag of holding, will cut right through it.
He doesn't want other stuff. He wants identifying markers.
Yeah, identifying markers I can send back to each tribe. So like, I can send the one letter saying this is part of your dead. I'm not sure who's whose. They can have it for their families.
Gotcha. Very good note. If you want to spend some time kind of focusing on that using Grok's brain power, that's absolutely something the two of you can kind of work together and gather up, basically identifying material.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I would like to do.
Okay. And yeah, there's no drainage. There's no anything. The more you look at it, the group of you look at it, that is a stone block. that is a solid stone block.
Somebody called it a building.
Yeah, and as you're thinking about it, White Crow, you consider like what you remember hearing about the Doom Vault. Like that name is very peculiar, and you're kind of just like racking your brain because it's also familiar. And you remember that it was something that was utilized during the Conglomerate Civil War 100 years ago, during a 500-year span. The Doom Vault was said to be a prison where Conglomerate Megir would store people who had performed crimes against magic. So anybody who would perform ill magics, any kind of renegade magiers or, traitorous kind of magic users, people who would break the norms of magic use, were stored in the Doom Vault.
People that didn't conform to rules that were trying to be imposed upon them by assholes.
Yeah, they were shoved in here, but only the ones that were notable. Like if it was just some asshole, then they would just kill them. But if they were somebody of some power of import that was worth studying, they would shove them in the vault.
Interdasting. With that law, if it was used for 500 years during a war, and the war covered most of the did it span most of the continent?
Yeah, you would know that it spanned not the most of the continent, most of the province, which would be the entirety of Osiria. And also...
And we're only on 1/3 of it right now, right? This map is just 1/3 of it.
Let me show you a map. So, see the little red box there?
Yeah.
That is the region that you're in. The province of Osiria, which is kind of the bigger, kind of greener area around you, that is the 3 kingdoms of Osiria. And then to the left of that is Darg. Basically, the Civil War was... no, not that pain, this pain.
That's my house.
Oh.
I'm from here!
Anyway, the war basically was between the kingdoms of Ludos and Liberus, and Munio was kind of in the war, but not. At the very beginning, they were very much sided against Liberus's mentality, and then they very quickly turned against Ludos, and then once they realized that there was no sense in fighting either, they kind of just turtle-shelled back up in the Valence Mountains to the north, and let a lot of their lands get taken over by the conglomerate. Ludos was being run by a regent of the conglomerate because the Ryoman kingdom, the Ryoman line, was effectively dissolved because they didn't know who the heir was. The heir was taken into hiding. There are some rumors in the church that you would be aware of that Ryoman has an heir, and this person is wandering around. He was kept safe in the capital during the end of the war, and then had progeny.
All right, so if the conglomerate controlled most of the eastern part of the continent for 500 years or more, we can probably suspect that they had at least one other entrance to the Doom Vault in Osiria. It's like you wouldn't funnel every single prisoner to this one specific location, and I feel like that'd be sus.
Correct. And you'd also know the other trait about the Doom Vault, which is of importance. Extra-dimensional spaces have different elemental kind of natures, also different temporal, spatial, physical, gravitational, etc. natures. Like, they're very wildly different. The Doom Vault doesn't have time, so to speak.
Oh.
Also, things in the Doom Vault, like, don't age.
Time is relative to the individual that runs it. So they can basically decide when time starts for the Doom Vault and when time doesn't. This is influenced by guests as well. So if someone is welcomed into the place, time will run normally and things will function as they should.
All right, so
similar
there's
rules to I can't think of the name now. We're not looking at the map. Munio. Not Munio.
No. You're thinking of
Monday,
correct. Monday obviously has a different source, but yeah, the magic is probably very similar temporally.
Got it.
Yeah, so I suspect that there's definitely another entrance somewhere in eastern Osiria, but that doesn't really narrow it down too much. Still a big place.
Yes, correct.
It's in Knock. Everything's in Knock.
Not I will tell you point blank, it's not a knock. But it's near. No, just kidding.
Okay, so the giant stone rhombus thing, are we to assume that is the Doom Vault and that's containing the extra dimensional spaces?
Based on the
Kind
way,
of like a material representation.
Based on the way it glows to Benson, it's directly above where the Doom Vault entrance was. So your assumption is that this thing acts as the battery for the door, for the entry. Whether it is it or not It is not certain, but it definitely feels like this thing is the physical representation of the magic that was used to create the door here.
Vincent, disenchant it.
I tried disenchanting.
What spell do
Suck all the
you?
magic out of it.
What spell do you use?
Disenchant.
Wait,
I have
Disenchant, not a spell.
this. I can do dispel magic, but
Yeah,
that's
that's
gonna
one
be my
spell.
last third level spell.
Because sending.
What?
Because you've been casting sending.
Yeah, no, that's why I was saying that'll be it for third level.
No, you still got 4, 5, 2, and 1.
You can cast a spell at higher levels if you want as well.
I just realized I also have Shatter Spike if the Rebels.
Or you can think about it, and you can roll an Arcana check to see if it'll even matter.
I'll try that. That sounds better.
It probably won't. It'd just be funny, John. Jesus.
I
All
gave,
the magic, lock all in there forever.
20.
I gave him an out. Yeah, so what you can tell, looking at it, kind of getting closer to it, is the magic seems to be waning anyways. Looks like the cave-in or the blowout from the foundational level has knocked it off of its positioning, which seems to have distorted the magic. The magic lingers, but it's not any longer in activation. You're now 100% certain looking at it that if you were to dig out the stairwell and get in there, the door to the vault is closed.
Could I try to rebuild the door? Rebuild line it back up?
So you would need to move a number of tons large block.
No. I get that. I'm talking about the magic that's holding the door open. Can I rebuild that?
You would need to get the block into its position to be able to reset
okay.
the magic. It seems that the position of the rhombus, the big block of stone, which is, again, somewhere around 30 feet high, if I remember correctly, like 50 feet long on its sides, that needs to be kind of set back up. It's currently sunk down a bit.
You're saying physically it's out
Yes.
of whack. I thought just like the threads of magic could be reconnected.
Yeah, it looks like that the physical nature of it is what basically creates the magical nature of it.
Okay, so if we can't get back in there, then we probably should go to the Stone Fang thing and deal with Rhombus.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we can run across that guy again and just slaughter him.
Do you have any other questions regarding like what's present here? Anything regarding the bodies that have been left behind? Any people that are missing or not? Do you have any questions about the cave-in itself and the stairway? Do you have any questions about the fortifications, anything outside, the strange smoke? Any questions at all before you maneuver out of this place? Just want to make sure you don't...
Gelgar is the only orc that I recall being close to or at all.
Mhm.
Would I recognize him as one of the fallen?
Make an investigation check as you search through the bodies as they're basically being piled to
That's
Boomer.
not great. Oh boy. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, I got the 0.
There are no... There's
so many Kelgars. They cloned him and murdered him.
There are no remnants that you can't
Boy.
guarantee aren't Kelgar,
Uh-huh.
or can you guarantee are.
If I want to give me help on that one, make that a 1.
Thank you. Would any of the more
Intelligence as a
martially
dump
minded
set is fucking funny.
I'm sorry, what was that in you?
would any of the more martially minded know why the ever smoking bottles would have been smoke would have been used on the battlefield?
Conceal the locations.
Yeah.
But who's
Drill
doing the
attack.
concealing and why?
That
So
guy.
that they could
Dragon.
snipe
For
from
him. Are the bottles still present?
It doesn't appear to be. If you'd like to make an investigation check to more thoroughly search that out, you can.
I got this. Oh,
23.
you beat me.
You kind of see Shambles like, oh, they're all Kelgar. And you kind of go, I'm going to go look around for any remnants of the battlefield. You do find some potion bottles that look like they've been blasted open. So it doesn't look like they're ever smoking bottles. It looks like they were very contained kind of packages of smoke, which you wouldn't be unfamiliar with. These are very common amongst the Shinigoro Kengo. These are also very common amongst a number of different gangs that kind of operate outside of Mudis, kind of more north towards Valence and the like. Very common practice for concealing your escape.
Smoke bomb.
Yep, correct. But in your search, you also find Kelgar dead.
He's over here.
Looks like he's been impaled by about 40 arrows, and kind of pinned to a tree, kind of lost in the smoke. But you're able to find him. Laying on the ground near him is his sword.
I will pick that up and give it to Vesper.
As you recall, it's a massive greatsword with kind of a yellowish colored blade.
I will drag that to Vesper.
It is a pretty heavy one. But yeah, you bring that over to him and explain that Kelgar's dead.
I know it sounds crazy, but that's how he always said he wanted to go.
No, I believe it.
No better way.
I heard him tell that exact story not 2 weeks ago.
He brings it up a lot. No, I'm mostly just glad he's not charmed or a zombie or
The hell of a
something
way to use your I know
more
guy.
morbid.
Whatever.
I don't have it. Oh, I do have an Onuya guy.
Everybody has it.
No, you're the well. You used one. I don't know who else.
There's no
limit.
limit.
Nobody else will play.
There's no limitation.
Well, my character is that I don't know shit.
That's fair.
Zero.
I am role playing my character.
I'm role playing hardcore.
You're right.
All right, let's get out of here.
Okay. No other questions regarding the remains or the cave-in, or again, opening this up, Steve. If you've got any questions that you want to confirm, also throw that in there. I know you don't know much about the situation here, but yeah, if there's just anything that you're thinking about as a player and that your character would be thinking about, please do not hesitate.
I don't know. Like, we know these things got whatever got them was from the Doom Vault, went back into the Doom Vault, and then they closed the Doom Vault. So,
well, let's track through that again. On your perception and your checks, you didn't see any footprints going back into the Doom Vault.
but we also didn't see anything walking away. So maybe it flew away.
Well, like I said, you can't really look out too far, and no one's gone past the kind of fog and smoke. So where they went is actually not known.
So some tracking might be in order.
Like if we just do like a perimeter, like through the swamp, just anything on the ground,
Yeah.
like a I don't know, like a 50-yard radius.
If you take some time and start searching around, you'll note that it does look like a lot of movement is present southbound from here.
They're south.
Just like straight south.
Straight south.
And there doesn't seem to be anything of.
Well,
there's the bastion that broke balls. That's something different from where we are.
No,
right?
that's where you're at.
That's exactly where we are.
No, all right then. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be anything of note directly south from us.
Correct.
Nothing we've encountered in game. That's why it wouldn't be highlighted on the map.
Oh, okay. So it's just you guys haven't been down that way yet.
Correct.
You would know, being kind of a very smart individual, that directly south of you is actually a very harsh jungle area known as the Forest of Megard, or Megard Forest.
Well, yeah, it looks like they went to the Megard Forest.
Oh my god.
That was true to be written on the map.
I can't say I would know why, But if it's revenge you seek for your comrades here, I think southbound is the way.
It would ease my mood.
We could also interrogate if they're the kind of man or beast that can talk. We can interrogate where another entrance to the Doom Vault could be.
Keep in
The
mind
tracks
they
he
got
sees, do they look like?
new recruits?
I would say that there's one track that's confusing to all of you once it's kind of brought to light. I don't care who brings it out to light, but you very quickly then kind of heads kind of looking at each other, annoyed. There appears to be a very massive track of serpentine kind of movement.
Yeah, that guy.
Like a big snack.
Yes, do you explain to
Naga.
him?
Yeah.
What?
Spirit
There's
Naga.
a spirit
douchebag.
Naga.
Oh, spirit. Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that?
He's a real asshole.
Hey, spirit. Yeah, because aren't Nagas like pretty intelligent? Like, did you guys talk with it at all?
It fucked with them a lot, yeah.
We fought it and it
I
ran
beat
away.
it up.
It
Ran away.
Tried to read
and
my
it
mind twice.
harassed
It
us.
failed.
They fought
It was talking too many big words. We had to give him the whole beatdown.
It ran
No,
away.
he didn't say a thing.
They fought.
Go back to the library, snake.
And then it ran away. they did it. It was twice. They did it twice.
Beat him up and took his lunch money.
Yeah, they beat the shit out. They beat the crap out of his sharks.
He doesn't
Beat him
have
up
any
and took his
water
lunch.
They're in the forest, though.
Shambles did it on their home turf.
Yeah.
It's red. I'm not over it.
But
Did him dirty in front of his squad.
it seems to be out and about in the wild now, and it looks like there's a decent number of individuals who have traversed south of the Bastion of Broken Claws with it.
Yeah, if it's out here, it doesn't have its access to just running away through holes and shit.
Yeah, there's at least 3 times the number of people that were left here that moved south.
And spirit Naga are straight up evil creatures, right? Like,
Yeah.
not some like wise snake of wisdom. It's just gonna. It's just
No, we
evil.
caught him. We caught him eating hypnotized people,
Oh,
You
well,
did.
and we put the kibosh on that. And
Oh.
then he was just harassing us the rest of the time we were there.
okay. Well, then we definitely gotta go punch him in the head.
Oh, so hard.
Well, you would know that this ambush took place about 5 hours ago, so they probably haven't got.
We got fast legs. We should definitely catch him.
We're not gonna take that crap.
Naga
Yeah,
take that.
Fast
crap.
legs.
Funny guy, Andy.
Naga take that crap. That's
Yeah, we
good.
got it.
I
didn't hear it.
I
Really?
gotta keep saying it. I love it. Okay, so what do you want to do?
I vote south.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's evil asunder for sure. We gotta go put that snake down.
Cue Lord of the Rings chase scene music. That 3.
They're taking the hobbits. They're taking the hobbits. They're taking the hobbits. Isengard. Ga 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 ga. Megard. Oh my god, shit, it's close. It's okay. So then we're traveling south. We're moving through the fens onto the King's Road and then south into Megard Forest. Is that right?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
1, 2. So it's going to take you the better part of 3 hours to get to, or 2 hours to get to there. I do need 2 d20 rolls.
Real quick, before we move,
Yeah,
you
Okay.
have that option to wind walk and
We
catch them
do.
way faster.
correct.
I could do that. I mean, we don't want to let him go too far, right?
Yeah, to get those
If
flat
we
fast
go
legs on.
high enough, we might be able to get in front of them without
that
too
idea.
much interruption.
Are we all Naruto running with Windwalk?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Oh,
turn
yeah.
into wind and run like 300 feet.
I'll put it up
It very fast. You become very fast, boy.
very fast.
It's a pretty heavy spell for him to use.
I
but
about
you
nailed it.
Well, so the only thing now is that I have a 7th level spell. I don't think we're gonna need to plane shift, so I can still use my mega heal on probably Shambles if needed.
likely shambles.
Oh, Shambles.
I
Oh,
have
man.
to
Maybe
avenge
Russian.
700 people. I'm
So-
sorry.
Are we gonna try to do an ambush, or can we just like come out of our gases from like Death Eaters and just like appear in front of the snake and just be like,
Reverting
What?
takes 1 minute.
"Damn it"?
During which time
Shambles
the
is
creature
preparing his big
incapacitated and
speech
can't
for when
move.
we jump out.
So we will have to find them, move well ahead of them, give ourselves 1 whole minute to come back because we are incapacitated for that minute, and then set up an ambush.
Smart.
Sounds like the plan.
Okay. So skyward, wind walking.
Okay.
Okay. And then, even though you're moving in a very different format,
I
how
vote Steve take the rolls.
how high above are you going to be flying that? Flying, by the way.
I'd like to be in the
Who
canopy.
has the keenest eyesight?
Probably you. Or Grok.
I mean, how far away could we get and still be able to see a spirit naga, do we think?
I mean, it's large, but it's not like massive. It's not insane.
Right.
is there does the Megard Forest have the same kind of fogginess that the Blackfens did, or is it?
You don't know.
Or is
You're
it
not.
more?
You're not there yet. But
Low enough that we would hope to see it, high enough that we won't encounter dumb birds or shit that are just gonna screw with us. I don't know.
Got it. Okay, so then yeah, Steve, go ahead and give me 2 20-sided dice rolls for random encounter time. You're moving over the fens and then into the road area, which will be the start of the traveling over the forest.
All right, we got both ends of the spectrum there. We got an 18 and we got a 2.
Roll a d100.
I think the 18's not great.
No, the 2's pretty good.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah. Oh, doesn't a 2? Are we gonna see like a little
60.
Mononoke guy? Is that the wrong game?
The Mononoke guys are not in this.
You're doing a good head wobble though.
But it is a similar kind of chart. Yeah, it's
Get a Florgan style.
Perfection.
Job.
Perfection. Sorry, I'm trying to find the chart.
Don't let it
Damn it. Let's see. Tables. Which also reminds me of another funny bit. Oh, these tables! They're so dirty!
I'm as bad as I've ever been.
60, you said, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, strangely enough, as you're moving away from the Bastion of Broken Claws, you see, kind of high up in some of the Mire forests, some fortifications, some settlements. They look like, almost like elvish kind of structures. But you notice that there's a number of kind of banners flying from them. They appear to have kind of crimson flags kind of flying, and the flags are kind of just more or less just scarves that have been attached to flagpoles and are streaming. It's very much inside of the dark of the swamp, but it does look like there are a number of those bridges I discussed that are kind of moving out and around it, so the marshland is traversable.
They're crimson scarves.
Crimson scarves seem to be kind of hung from all of these small little settlements. And this is, I mean, however high you are, they're kind of at the treetops.
Everybody loves to hunt those crimson scarves.
Well, they've all but disbanded. If they're flying these as flags, then they're not wearing them anymore. Do we need to move in to investigate that, or do you guys want to just blow past it?
We're on a mission, right?
We got to get that.
Yeah,
done
but
before
I
it
feel
gets
like this
away.
block came up on it too, and those are usually the good things.
I've got a handful I can drop off with these. Actually, I've been made to get rid of. So I'll lag behind and tie off 8.
So you're dropping down.
You can't.
I
So
can't.
I don't think you can do that.
We can't take the only action we can take
Right.
becoming real.
Right.
So we can't even interact with whatever it would be.
We'll see if it's still here when we come back. You're right. We are on a mission.
Continuing. And once you make the road, it would be, and basically you're traveling at 300 feet around, and you're dashing, so it's actually 600 feet. It's pretty fast. But that being said, despite it taking, I can't even think, 20 miles at that speed, 60 feet per 6 seconds, or 600 feet per 6 seconds. Even with that speed, you do feel like the nature of where you're headed is a bit more convoluted and a bit more problematic. As we discussed on your travel, through the area when you were traveling from Blackheart to Bellum via train, the forest to the south, Megard Forest, is very dense. Very dense. It's actually not even just a forest. It is a jungle. It is absolutely thick canopies, which are basically impenetrable with the exception of some clearings. And the foliage, even at the ground level, is going to be hard to traverse on foot. You're moving around in a wind-walked state, so you're basically able to kind of wisp around and through it, but you're still going to have to maneuver around physical objects like trees, bushes, the like. You don't walk through stuff.
Okay, when you're in a gaseous form, you don't pass through?
You're still a wisps of
We go
clouds.
around it. We're
Yeah.
gonna move easier than they are, but it's still there is stuff there.
Right.
We're maintaining a trail
Yeah. Well, what I'm
on
saying
this guy.
is either you're going down into the jungle and floating around in it as wind-walking forms, or you're staying above the canopy and moving, but you're not going to be able to see much of anything below you.
I'd say we have to go into it, because if we go above the canopy, we probably miss them pretty good. If we go inside, while we have a higher chance of getting attacked, we can see where we're going easier and probably spot them better.
Yeah, we'll still catch them because like the snake can probably get through the forest pretty like easily as a snake, but his minions aren't gonna be slow moving if it's this dense.
Like 600 strong. So
Yeah,
more
it's gonna
than,
take a
more
little
than.
dive in, find.
Sorry, more than. You left 600 here. The force that left was in the numbers of 1,800. If you had seen them, or would have seen them, they would have been noticeable by now. And you definitely can see where the road is kind of met by them, like that you're floating over before you enter into the jungle. You can see this massive kind of basically depression in the road from where the force walked across from the black fence to the jungle.
Okay, so we'll just take that line. We'll get beneath the canopy, stay hidden in the leaves, and follow their path and try to get ahead of them.
Each of us can kill 300 soldiers. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially undead soldiers, that's my specialty.
What day is it? Tuesday?
Has it been 7 days since I had my thing?
Maybe it'll be like a Phantom Menace type thing. You know, you beat up Snake and then the rest of them fall over.
I had 4 days left.
That's less fun,
when
but
we were
okay.
in
That's still
Bellum.
optimistic.
Yeah, you had 4 days left when you were in Bellum. It's been a day since then. You literally just popped over to Venice for a hot minute and then left. And it's been instantaneous travel since then. So yeah, there's 3 more days before that. And there's also, I think, 2 more days for Bonrock finality on repairs.
Yep. All right. Yeah, we got this, guys. I believe.
We want to stay below the canopy, keep an eye on the trail.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
get a line on them and try to catch them and pass them without being noticed.
Okay. As you enter in, you can easily track them. It looks like it's pretty simple. And you're able to follow along. And I'm going to assume that you continue following them, correct?
Does it seem like they're moving in a straight line?
No.
Then yeah, we'll follow them until we can.
Are they moving as one large group?
They are.
So
And
follow
it's
until we
easily
can
over
assess the
1,000?
direction.
This is the path.
Because we do want to try to get ahead of them once we found them.
Okay.
Because we need a minute to change back. Otherwise, we'll have to stay behind, change, and then catch them on foot.
Absolutely.
In their numbers, they're probably slower than typical.
Right. And they left 5 hours ago. So, I mean, you're not sure whether they would have been able to make it to where they're going or not. But if you're following their trajectory, I need 1, 2, 3 d20 rolls.
Steve!
All Steve, all the time.
Steve's on dice duty.
14, 16, 16.
I need a d100 and I need a d100.
$14 and a 57.
14, 67,
57, 57.
57, sorry.
Like, do you guys? Is there a plan? You guys are like just not telling me about how we're gonna deal with 1,800 minions
Oh, technicalities, trivial.
One at a time?
because you guys are still like, yeah, we're gonna ambush this guy,
That's
Him and his
1,800 1v1s.
him and his army.
As you're kind of
Take 'em down.
maneuvering about, you do notice that there appear to be a lot of markers on the trees. And when you see these markings, Brock, it's very indicative of a druid circle. From what you're discerning, the markers indicate a circle that is very focused on the aspects of the shepherd, which is a different type of druid circle than what you are.
Do I remember was Duralis that kind of druid?
No, she was not.
Okay, cool.
But what you do notice too is that there appear to be eyes that are watching you. You seem to be nothing more than kind of, clouds that are floating through, but you very clearly realize that you're being watched. And when you realize what's watching you, it's actually kind of oh, fuck. It appears to be giantkin. Green colored, long noses, massive kind of ears in very ornate looking armor that's kind of blackish in color, but as it kind of moves in the jungle, it seems to kind of catch the background behind it. The creatures you're witnessing are trolls, and they appear to be a warrior tribe of trolls that are following you. They are not keeping up with you, so it's pretty much like as you're moving into this kind of druidic area, they're witnessing you. They're keeping an eye on you as best they can, and if you continue to maneuver out of here, you'll clearly get away from them. But you definitely know that this area appears to be troll territory.
Gotta pay the troll toll.
Shepherd trolls, they're trolls with a bunch of bunny rabbit friends and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ahead of or behind the snake and company?
Behind. Yeah,
so he got through this just fine.
Yeah, they have 5 hours on you, and yeah, it doesn't look like there was any skirmish between them and them. So, what that means, you're not sure.
Okay.
All right. And then for your last bit, you got a what was it?
5-7.
5-7. All right. You see, kind of near the base of the hills and low-lying mountains near here, that there is very clear identifying markers of a divide of the force. Looks like a very large grouping of the force kind of heads towards those mountains and hills, whereas a smaller force, probably somewhere in the hundreds or around 100, breaks off and heads south. Looks like whatever the creatures were that headed south are much faster than the massive bulk that is probably only maybe 30 minutes to 20 minutes ahead of you. Actually, less than that because you're super fast.
Which way did the snake go?
You can make a survival check to see if you can't track it. But actually, no, you can't because you can't take any other actions besides dash. You'd have to break out of Windwalk to be able to track.
Wait, it just looks like the snake broke off from its army.
You don't know.
It looks like one side broke off from the other.
We're still fast enough. We could go check out the big group, double back, and come back for the small one if we wanted also.
Like, shouldn't it? The snake leaves a very different imprint. Wouldn't it be obvious just to see it?
Because
we can't roll dice in our form.
We're in a jungle, so a snake could actually be brachiating. It could actually be maneuvering in other ways. So to be able to try and track it, you would need to shift out of wind's mood and check.
That's fair.
To be clear, there is no noticeable, very big, easy to identify snake print in the ground because the ground is covered with jungle material. So it's very hard to discern.
Damn, it's home field advantage.
It's got home field advantage again.
Do we have eyes on the smaller portion? You said the smaller group is what was left behind?
The smaller force moves very fast and is headed south. Don't know where it is.
Okay, it's split up. We're not going in between them. I see.
And then the larger force headed towards the base of the mountain.
We are still at least 6 times faster than that smaller force. Though.
Correct. They just have a 5-hour lead on you. That's the only reason you're only now catching up with the larger force.
So we could go hit the big group, check it, turn around, come back, and still catch that other one.
And the big group's the one heading to the mountain?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's the
Odds are good. Those are our boys. We need to find that so we can go back and set it on fire later to get rid of all the bodies.
Fair enough. I say we check out the big group first then.
Okay. If you go and check that out, you'll note that you can see like they have broken out of the jungle proper, and you can kind of get some altitude if you'd like to try and see out on the land because they're no longer under the canopy. And as you kind of look out that way, you will note that there is what appears to be a very massive temple kind of set in the side of the hill, like the base of the mountain, basically right about there. definitely looks very ominous. It appears to be of an older construction. The architecture is very much of a Dargian nature, and it appears that there is kind of a series of steps that kind of are out in front of the temple, and along these long steps, there are these massive slabs of stone that are kind of angled just slightly down. From what you can tell, at the base of the structure, a number of individuals are being shackled to those slabs, heads pointed down. And from your kind of position, you're seeing a couple of them having their throats and wrists slit as they're basically being kind of held by their legs on these slabs. White Crow and Brooklyn, you can make religion checks.
No, they can't.
Oh, sorry, no, you can't. Actually, since this isn't a skill check for me, this is just a kind of something they would know.
We see it.
A remembering check.
This is a remembering check. I'll allow it.
I'm recalling
Not a lot from Brooklyn.
something.
White Crow, you are a member of the Inquisition, so you would have had advantage on this, but you immediately recognize this as a Meridian temple. This is actually a temple of one of the demon princes, and based on its architecture, you can very much discern that this is a temple to the demon prince of Wrath, Grumnar.
Oh, that's just some heresy right there.
Oh, we haven't met that one yet.
You actually recall from your records that this one was cleared during the Civil War, and according to the non-convergence alliance and treaties that were made between the Osirian kingdoms and the conglomerate, this place was supposed to have been destroyed by the conglomerate 100 and something years ago. Apparently it was not.
So how large is the force that's like coming up to this temple that we're tracking?
There's probably like a good 100-foot clearing in between that and the temple, and then the temple's kind of like steps that lead up are probably about another 300 feet, and then the temple is set atop that. And the temple structure, it's very much, think of like the Temple of Zeus or the Parthenon kind of styling. It's literally just kind of like a series of columns with a structure on top of it, kind of open air. And then the steps that I mentioned, there's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 500 of these slabs kind of set in the steps. And it looks like they've got maybe 5 or 6 people that they've already thrown on the slabs, tying them to the tops of the blocks, slitting their throats and wrists so that they're bleeding down into some sort of kind of weird channel at the base of these steps.
And we
This
see
is a group
from
of about
here.
1,700.
Sorry, what was that? 2 Wilburs talking at once. Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
This is a group of about 1,700 people, right?
Yeah, and it looks like they're taking some of the people that are amongst them. Some of the people are taking some of the people that are amongst them and putting them to slab.
Yeah, so we can't really deal with this on our own. I'd have to report this to the Inquisition.
The blood of the zombies wouldn't be good for whatever ritual they're doing, right?
Correct.
I was asking Steve, not you, but all right.
Oh, sorry, White
They're
Crow.
only
No, they
sacrificing
need live sacrifices, and it's bad stuff, bad juju. But
Okay, it's on the map.
we'd have to bring an army for
Zach,
there's like 1,700 soldiers here or minions.
Okay.
They're still alive.
So, just to double check, are you backtracking to where you found the tracks and then following after the faster group, or are you going to try and find the tracks by descending, kind of triangulating?
Did they seem like they were on a pretty straight path?
Pretty straight path from what you could tell, but again, you don't know where it might have diverted.
Yeah, we got 600 feet per minute or whatever. We can catch them.
You pop back to where you found the tracks and then
We have to
descend.
go with leaving the temple, right?
Yeah. We can't fight him.
Well, now.
Yeah, no, I'm making a mental note, and we'll tell my direct superior is Hallis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'll send him a crow or a raven or I don't know, whatever Inquisition messaging system we have set up. I'll let him know.
Okay.
We'll get the Crusaders up in here sometime.
Of course, it's a fucking crow.
As you make it to the tracks and start following, you very quickly realize that the weather has shifted once again. Up above you, you can hear the very loud kind of raucous pattering of rain on the leaves of the canopy above. And it's also become very dark. So vision in this kind of state, even with dark vision, is kind of limited. So you're not able to see too far outfield, only like 120 feet. And that's obviously limited by the fact that you're in a dense jungle. Still traveling in wind form, correct?
Yeah, we haven't stepped out of it.
Okay. Yeah, you basically come to a point where you realize you've lost the tracks. And if you do not start actually looking for the tracks, you will not be able to continue the tracking. There's no obvious notation of where they've gone.
None of them have magic items on them.
You don't see anything in 60 feet, no.
Okay.
Looks like we need to pop out of this windwalk.
Yeah, we got to do so safely. We need to find a place to cover.
Get up in
Or
the
do it.
trees.
Well, some of us
Well,
can't.
I don't know if you
Walk out
guys
of
can
trees.
get.
Yeah.
As much as I like
You
seeing
and I are
Liquid
totally
fall,
fine. Steve's fine.
Oh, sorry, one
Steve
last
should be
thing.
fine.
You did have
Brooklyn
this.
was fall. He's fine.
You did have this one descent just to keep it action packed. Go ahead and give me another d20 roll, Steve.
We got 2 brooms. We're good.
No. It's not bad. It's that you moved into a new house.
No, not you.
Okay.
Just to Zach.
Oh, okay.
We can get out of the canopy if we stop there.
Gotcha.
Got a 15.
D100.
Got a 29.
Okay. As you kind of look around for a place to find a place to kind of secure yourself, you see what appears to be kind of a tree that has grown on the corpses of 3 other trees. The trees look like they all kind of fell inwards, and the tree that's on top of them has kind of grown up. Its root structure has kind of webbed down the broken trees, and it's created this very kind of strange natural like cabin effectively. From what you can tell, it looks like there's a harsh amount of vegetation that's kind of built up and around it. But as you kind of look at it and try and look inside to inspect it, you can see that there's a campfire pit kind of in the center. Looks like there's a decent hole in the vegetation and the root structure up above that allows for the smoke to exit. And it also looks like the former residents are still present, all killed inside of here. It looks like they were stabbed to death with some sort of primitive spear. There's about 3 of them. They look like they're explorer types. One of them appears to have the markings of the Inquisition on them.
Uh-oh.
Well, this looks... We had to come out of gaseous form anyways, right? Should we investigate this? And
Well, we're down for 1 minute as soon as we leave gaseous form. So if anything's nearby, we're dead.
well,
We are
should we? Do you want to?
incapacitated for a whole minute.
Should we
I feel like
reoperate?
there's even if it
reoperate
goes
in the
there,
tree?
It's probably safer to do it in there than in a
If you do just kind of a quick run around the tree, there's nothing close by. This inside of this tree is as defensible position as any as you're going to find.
Okay.
Good thinking, though. Good looking out. But yeah, we can take a look.
Okay.
All right, well,
If you
dive
start,
bomb a smoke hole.
if you start removing yourself from the windwalk status, you kind of slowly kind of become physical, and a minute passes. No harm, no foul, nothing crazy, nothing happens, no surprise attacks or anything. So starting with Steve and then moving to the left this time, on how I'm viewing you on the table. Steve, what's your first inquiry about the 3 dead bodies, campfire, the camp setup here?
I guess the first thing is based on location. I would want to see if I recognize the Inquisitor at all, and then just kind of look for any identification on him. It might give me an inkling to like what he was doing, like why he was sent here.
Okay. The Inquisitor, as you kind of look them over, appears to be a young Inquisitor. member who was performing their ordeals. You can see that chained to his thigh is a book. It looks like the book was kind of placed on the outside of their leg and then kind of shackled to them. And then it looks like that the connection was kind of welded on their leg and then kind of bound with the holy seals. It looks like their sword has been taken from its sheath. It's nowhere visible. But based on the scabbard, you assume it was a holy swordsman's weapon. Looks like a number of different articles have been removed from them, but the book and the scabbard are basically what remains. You can make a history check to see if it's someone you recognize from the Inquisition specifically.
17.
This appears to be a young lad who went by the name of Vadius. You don't remember his surname, just his first. And you remember that he was kind of an up-and-coming Inquisitor. Last you recall, there was understanding that he was heading out to the barrier lands between the between the Munio and Liberus kingdoms to investigate any possibilities of cults that were left after the Civil War.
Well, he was on the right track. It's shackled. Would I know the best way to kind of take the book off him? I could return it eventually.
It looks like it can be slid off. It just looks like it's been kind of set to form so that when you kind of pull it up over the like pants, you can kind of wear it like a girder. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just take the book to return to the church.
Okay.
For the next guy. It's kind of disheartening that his relic or his holy weapon was taken.
Agreed. Okay, Brent, you are also in the camp, seeing the White Crow kind of go about that. Oh, sorry. White Crow, give me a medicine check.
25.
Yeah, it looks like the signs of disease are present on the Inquisitor. It looks like they were basically stabbed with something that kind of caused them to suffer kind of a great malady. It doesn't look like they died of their wounds. Like the stabs that are kind of present on them. Looks like they were kind of left to die and then at a later time were robbed.
Okay, so they were just poisoned, essentially.
Not poisoned. You would definitely recognize that filth fever is what they kind of were afflicted with and died from. So your assumption is that the spears that were utilized on them were used by either kobolds, grung, or possibly some goblin tribes will kind of defecate on their spears to make them more deadly.
Yeah.
There's
not
also
a good way to go.
There's also a couple of human tribes that do it, but not in the Megard Forest. Most of those tribes are kind of located in the South Rhone Plains. Okay, sorry, back to you, Brent.
Is he just checking out the
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor guy? Okay, I'll check out the other two bodies then.
Okay. I'll let you check out one. You look at the two, and it appears that one of them looks like they are kind of like a guide or some kind of ranger type based on their attire. And the other one looks like a scholarly type. The ranger type, she is probably somewhere in her mid to late 20s. And then the scholarly type, he looks like he was probably in his 40s. Which one of those two would you like to search out?
I'll do the ranger type. I'll leave the scholarly type for the people who get at that stuff.
Okay. So when you look her over, you will note that she does appear to have paperwork still on her person. Going over it, it looks like her name was Cassette. Cassette Wildbloom is her name. She appears to have been, from what you can tell, a half-elvish ranger who is no longer carrying any weaponry, but she does have markers or indicators that kind of denote that she is a official guide of the guild guide or guides guild out of Bellum. So she is a kind of a certified approved guide for the areas around the city.
Okay. I'll take her identification, so if we ever go back to Bellum, I can take it back to them.
Absolutely. And then Chody, you want to look at the last corpse?
Yep.
Okay. Elderly gentleman. He has indicators that denote he's from the capital. Looks like he is a member of the Lore Keepers. No identification as to who he is, just what he was. And it looks like he had a book, but it looks like all of the pages have been torn out of it.
Can I search him a little more thoroughly, or is that all?
You search him a little bit more thoroughly. Everything looks like it's been taken off of him. You do notice that one of the fingers looks like it's been scarred. And I don't know if you're familiar with like safety training videos, but like when a ring is pulled off of a finger, it's called degloving. If it pulls the like skin of the finger off of it, it looks like that has happened.
I'm gonna try to look for any unique signs so I can try to explain who he was to the people when we get back.
Sure. Yeah, no, besides kind of physical description and kind of looking at him, there doesn't appear to be any kind of identifying markers besides the badge that he has on him, which you can't use to kind of specifically ID him, but they might be able to back at the capital.
Okay.
You said 136 miles per hour is what you're moving?
Yeah.
So then you would have been hell, it's only been like an hour. About 130 miles. 140 miles, rather.
Jeremy's got it off just a little bit. Oh, wait, no. I must be doing the math wrong.
Yeah, it looks like you have an extra 0 in there. Somewhere.
Anyway,
the point is it's been just about an hour since you left the Bastion of Broken Souls. What took them 5 hours took you what?
Are we gonna? Let's we plan on trying to like hunt down whoever did this. We can move on. I think we looked over the bodies.
that stuff's not contagious, is it?
No. You have to get poopy in your wounds in order to catch filth fever. I use that exact terminology.
This is actually the scientific.
Good doctor. Glad you're on our side.
Did I mention I'm actually a pediatrician? So when I explain it to kids, you know.
Jeremy, you obviously have seen them kind of going over the bodies. Is there anything in particular you want to do as you kind of remanifest?
I'll just check out the cabin.
Okay, so it definitely has kind of like a cabin like shape to it and look to it, but it definitely doesn't look like it was built. It looks like 3 trees kind of fell in on each other, and then a tree grew it basically where they met, and the roots kind of descended down in an almost kind of square-like or almost kind of tent-like shape, forming this kind of grid of roots that finally got to the earth and created this kind of dome area. And there's a fire pit. It looks like there's a hole directly above you, kind of in the root structure. It seems to like a little bit of rain is kind of drizzling in, but not like anything crazy, and it's not going to be a problem.
Okay, I'll just keep watch.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check, and then Grok, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going to actively scan the perimeter to see if we're being watched or if there are any people, anything like that around us.
Make a perception check as well.
23.
I see you.
28.
You'd have advantage searching for what you're looking for. Mishrael, you definitely notice that there's a lot of footprints around here. It almost looks like someone was kind of circling the area. Whatever the creature was, it had very strange looking feet. Nothing that you're able to really recognize, but it looks like they almost had a kind of 3-toed foot structure that was kind of like webbed, almost like a duck or something. Grok, as you notice these, you actually know that they are Grung. They are a frog-like people that basically are very territorial, very confrontational, and very much utilizers of kind of underhanded tactics like, poopy spheres.
Poopy wounds.
You assume that they stabbed these people out in the field, tracked them back to where they were taken to ground, waited for them to die, and then took their shit.
Got it.
You do see that there are markings indicating that they do serve some sort of higher being or higher master, kind of around the trees and areas. This isn't druidic. And based on what you're able to understand, it seems that they are serving a dryad, which is a fey creature that is actually very benevolent, usually.
Free spirit thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's
All that.
an oak tree, and the oak tree basically has a form that can manifest from the tree, or rather, the tree lives in the oak, or the dryad lives in the oak tree, and they're usually nice. They're fey creatures.
Is there an oak tree in this jungle? It's gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
It would stick out like a sore thumb for sure. But yeah, they are usually kind of neutral, and sometimes they're kind of the focus of druidic worship.
And I would just mention all that to the group and ask Raya and maybe, Raya to see if there are any potential traps, because it seems like they would play some tricks like that.
Okay. Sure. I would say once you've been told that, Raya, you kind of your perception check will switch to that, and you do notice that there are places where there were traps, but it looks like they were put up hastily and taken down just after. Looks like they were basically creating deterrence for the people who were sick from escaping.
Got it.
Okay, so the question becomes, do we want to chase these guys and get back that holy sword for the Inquisitor, or do we want to keep trying to find the snake guy?
Snake guy. We're already on a mission.
Still mad at the snake guy. We could find frog people. We could find an oak tree in the jungle pretty easy.
Getting that holy sword back would be a good ordeal for an initiate, so...
Yeah, just tell someone else to do it.
Atta boy.
Here's a shit sword. You want a cool sword? Go get it. And here's a book. Strap it to your leg. Last guy
with his died. He didn't believe hard enough.
You gotta believe
real
good about
leaving
hard.
the church.
See, he only died because he's put this book to his side, but he never cleaned it with the swords.
Right.
I'm feeling pretty good about never going.
You backtrack to.
I remember it being very good.
You backtrack to the split, and then start to track from that position. There's only one check you can make, and it's survival. And if you have a person who is trained in it as a secondary, they can assist.
I have
We have
survival.
training guidance
I have
too.
plus 11.
That beats my
That's pretty good.
5.
Do we have another person who's? Do
Plus 0.
we have
Are you
another
gonna
person
guide
who's?
me?
Yeah, I can cast guidance.
There's no one trained in it besides Grok.
Yes.
I am not.
Then Grok, you're making the check raw, and you're making it with guidance.
I'll use my inspiration.
Roll a d4.
So 28.
So you're able to find the large group's tracks, and you continue following them. It looks like they are heading
group.
kind of due south. This is the small group, correct?
I don't know how large the small group was.
100 people.
With that check, you would note that there's, somewhere around 100 people. You very quickly kind of follow them along, and it looks like they are kind of moving south. Travel is now a bit more stunted. You're not moving at the same, raw, breakneck pace. But you do kind of move through the forest enough to cause another random encounter roll.
Also, did Dizzy find us again? That poor guy. Is he with us?
No.
Who?
Is he the super horse?
No.
I didn't know he got the name.
Because he's always running to different
He's always
locations.
running in circles trying to find us.
get it.
I believe he
It's
was.
very funny.
I believe he was left in Benish.
He'll track us down one of these
Because
days when we get back to
he did go to the
Bellum
capital.
or something.
He did go to the
He would
capital.
have.
And
Horse.
I do believe he went back with you to Bellum when you came back. And I just assumed since you were teleporting that same way, you took him with him to Benish. So he's in Benish, is what I'm going to presume, with the at the lady's house.
He can always show up whenever, though. He does his super portal jump.
Yeah. He just has to be called, that's all. This is not a place to put a horse, by the way. You're going to hobble that horse.
We also don't need it. Zach can fly. We've got 2 brooms of flying, a monk, and a dude that can walk on walls.
That's fair.
And he turns into animals.
Okay.
Brett could summon another animal.
There's definitely no craziness that happens. You do realize that the territory you're in is now more burgeoning with these symbols and indicators, Grok, that denote this other druidic circle, this dryad circle. And you start to realize that the grung markers are kind of utilizing the same kind of vernacular, the same kind of druidic kind of etchings. And what you're noticing too is that this appears to be a enclave of druids, or servants of an enclave of druids that follow the path of the one wood. They believe in kind of the holistic nature of the forest and how the supremacy of the forest should be kind of put to everything outside of the forest. The forest should be allowed to grow wildly and with abandon like it was back in the Lost Age.
So you would think that they would probably be unhappy with a spirit naga and a bunch of zombies tramping through, right?
You would think that. And with your survival roll, as you're kind of focusing on that as well, you notice that the group once again splinters.
Can I tell where the main group went, or is it
There looks like there is a small group that appears to just take off, no longer walking on ground. Seems like it's moving in the treetops, kind of takes to the trees. There's a larger group, probably about 1/5 of the group kind of went into the trees, and about the rest of it kind of went this other way. With that survival check that you got, you would actually understand what's happening here. The group that was left behind, or kind of moving about behind, is aware that something is following them. This is a common tactic amongst tribes that they're basically probably going to be setting up an ambush along the path.
So that there's a group that is sort of baiting us to push forward, and then some groups have gone up and back.
Yeah, or have
forward and back.
have followed behind them, but have been following in a way that they're not trackable.
Okay, because they're up in the trees, is what
Right.
you're saying. Okay, so I definitely mentioned that.
Yeah, you would also notice that they kind of moved in such a way that the lesser tracker would actually try and follow them, and just be lost off the trail, whereas the slightly better tracker would follow the main stuff and then get caught out in the ambush. But the even better tracker, which is you, would understand that this is the ploy. There's a fake path there, we're not taking that one. The real path's there, but some assholes are probably going to be in between us and them and are going to try and kill us.
Got it.
And with the 28, the other thing you'll notice, amongst the 20, a very serpentine creature joined them in the trees.
Okay, so maybe that Naga's up there.
How thick is the canopy?
Very thick.
And the Naga's in the trees?
It's up in the treetops. Or not in the treetops, up in the tree branches, yeah. This is like jungle kind of, the mentality would be is like the branches start like spread around 8 feet and they kind of ascend upwards. And because of the just thickness of branches that are above you, some 80 feet above you, there's like the ground level that you're on. Then there's like the tree area, like the brachiating section in between, and then there's the treetops, which would be the canopy. So those are kind of the 3 levels we'll be engaging on if we get into a fight.
Not to be that guy, but technically a forest is burn downable.
A forest is, a jungle is not.
I tried for it.
So we don't want to piss off the frog things yet.
They seem like they don't really like to talk anyway.
No, but they also don't like when you burn down their forests.
So are we trying to like go up and follow Sneck into the trees, or
We might have to match their tactics and put 1 or 2 of us up there for a counter.
And sorry, your time scale has changed also drastically. That walking period between those two hexes, since you're now on foot or flying, even still, you're not able to just kind of maneuver through everything very easily, and you're not also going breakneck speeds. That one hex is the same amount of time it took for you to do all the zoom. So we're actually more than that, 2 times as much. So we're looking at 3 hours in.
Wait, so do we want 3 or 4 guys marching on the ground and then 2 guys up in the trees, like flanking the rest of the group to counter their tree ambush?
Pretty much.
I think Shambles and Crow can go like monkey mode in the trees because fast
Shambles
legs.
fly.
Can we just wait 1 second? Is there a way for me to leave, like a logical place for me to leave a message in Druidic for the grung?
You could leave markers. Yeah, you could leave indicators.
So like basically,
Doing so because you're the one that's kind of keeping everyone like on the right track will slow your pace even more than it's already been slowed.
So if I could leave some messages, maybe to ask them to ally with us, that might be super helpful. You know, like where
Could potentially. Okay.
we're hunting these them down, could use your help. You know.
Okay.
Friendship, whatever, something like.
You could also try and use the indicators. I mean, because they are kind of clearly, territorial creatures. They are kind of indicating that this is their territory. Using the markers, you could track them. You could try and find the Grung's camp or the Grung's like base of operations. That's entirely up to you. But like I said, the current path that you're walking down, it looks like they basically have an ambush party waiting behind the main party, and it includes the Spirit Naga. And it's going to basically ambush you probably once you start kind of going down that path.
Right. So if we go with the grungs, it'll be a whole new negotiation. It's going to take us off track. So the question is, we want to take the direct approach. And if we do, I'd still want to take a moment to leave a message for the grungs. Maybe they can help us if they,
Leave your message. We'll put our counter ambush in and just anticipate the ambush. Especially if the Naga's in the ambush party. That's our primary target currently.
Kill him.
We'll punch him out of the trees.
I got so much punching to do.
So one can fly, the other one can jump around up there as quietly as possible. And then when they spring their trap, our trap springs on top of them. And it becomes, I don't know, a mess.
It's double negative. There's just they ambush us, we ambush them. No ambushes actually happen. It's just
we are
they can't cancel each other out.
Put Benson on a broom. Let's go.
All
You got
Okay.
little legs. You can't walk around out here.
If that's the case, you're moving again, and this time you're kind of moving in same kind of direction south. Go ahead and roll me another D1 or D20.
Does Benson have like major illusion or anything? Like a fake party?
I do not.
It's not our style. We do it dumb.
A 14. Do it dumb.
Yeah, we do dumb. Benson's gonna spend a lot of his time just making his robes clean every 5 steps.
Do you want me to pass without trace? Pass without trace? Would that help?
That gives us super stealth, right?
Because you're the counter bait.
You can throw it up if you want to.
Well, I'm asking the group.
Well, just throw it up so they can read it, so they know what you're asking them.
Plus 10 to your stealth check, you can only be tracked by magical means.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
For 1
hour. If we're trying to do a counter ambush, like they'll see our tracks, they'll come for the ambush. We kind of quote unquote disappear into stealth. Counter ambush.
Or we might walk right past them and not trigger a trap and miss the Naga if we do this also.
That's two's suffering from success.
Yeah. Hilarious.
I'd say we definitely don't do that.
Not
That
gonna
way
lie.
we can trigger the trap to get the Naga out.
I'm not gonna lie, Jeremy. I'm really annoyed that you thought about it. Because
What the hell are those guys?
These motherfuckers roll 25 over on everybody.
We're down in like Syria.
They're just gone. They're just gone.
I guess this is just where we live now.
Guess we live in the jungle. Us in the grounds.
35 stealth check if we did that.
Yeah. Literally just wouldn't have been an ambush.
I got a 14 on that D20.
Steven
That
Zach
changes
just like
anything.
literally run into the back of them. Oh shit!
So nothing's happening like regarding random encounters, but is there anything that you're doing as you're moving? I want to make sure you understand. If you're trying to maintain a level of stealth, if you are stealthing and moving that way, you're cutting your time. You're basically doubling your time. So just moving from one hex to the next is going to...
Ground crew is not using stealth. We are looking at footprints and listening above because we know an ambush is coming.
Okay.
But we are going to fake it till we make it to trigger the counter ambush.
Okay. If the group above you is trying to maintain a level of stealth, then they also are going to be moving at a slower pace. If their speed is double yours, then that's not going to present a problem. But if it's not, then it will.
No, they're double us. So
Okay.
it's fine.
So who's in the trees? Which of us?
Crow
The
and
monks, two
Crow.
speedy boys.
Okie doke.
couple of monkeys.
Hey,
I love it.
not bad.
We love to hear it. Okay.
Do you want stealth checks out of us then?
I would.
Oops, I didn't mean that.
All
Sorry.
right, Crow, let's do it. Good roll this time. Hey.
27.
Oh shit! I didn't think I'd actually have to steal. I only got an 11.
The guy with the bright white face mask is very clearly noticed in the dark, dank
Also,
jungle.
he can't fly. I forgot about.
Oh, I'm
No.
actually just jumping from tree to tree.
I thought all monks could do this.
He's yelling hi-ya for every jump.
He's like that old guy in that picture you posted. So-
Yeah, like I'm jumping
yeah,
from tree to tree, but I'm using
he
my like
climbs
cane
to the
to
top of each tree and then swings his arms, getting ready to jump.
so whacking the foliage out of the way, and it's not very stealthy.
Anywho, yeah. Oh man. So you continue on for some time, and you come to a point where it looks like there is kind of a bit of a clearing, just a very small kind of open space. From what you can see up ahead, it looks like in that clearing there are a number of tree stumps. Based on what you can see from here, Grok, it looks like the tree stumps in question look like they are fresh. And you can actually see the logs of the trees kind of like knocked over, kind of hit into the trees on the sides of the clearing.
What kind
These
of trees?
3 trees appear to be oak trees.
Uh-oh.
White oak, beautiful, but all 3 of them have been cut down.
Somebody's gonna be pissed.
We should approach and like give our condolences and say prayers at the trees.
Okay.
Somebody is likely watching this.
As you kind of maneuver up to the trees, Grok, and only Grok, sees what appears to be a shape in the kind of loose tree material and jungle material on the ground. It appears to be a feminine shape. This form kind of lifts her head, and she appears to be completely made out of wood, leaf, and tree. And as she kind of moves her face to look at you, you can see that her eyes are completely just like her face appears to have been carved out of white oak. Her face does seem to twist in kind of pain, and a hand kind of raises up to meet you. But very shortly after this effort is made, she just kind of falls limp back into the material. And even to your eyes and to everyone else's eyes who didn't see this happen, it just looks like a lump of jungle floor.
Oh, she's... Does it seem like she's died?
Mm-hmm.
Could I try plant growth? Would that help?
You're pretty sure it won't. The dryad looks like it was kind of at its last and kind of passed away there. And that was kind of more of a after image of the death of the dryad. The others of you that are kind of moving up behind as this, you're going to give your condolences, will note that in the trees and all around, like you're kind of obviously being cautious, and some of you are actually up there. For those of you who are up there, you see some pretty twisted shit. You see grungs that look like they were just smashed into the sides of trees. Their heads exploded outwards. It's the first time you've ever seen a grung, but like it's pretty fucking gnarly. It looks like there are parts where grung were like split in half, like 4 or 5 of them standing side by side were just cut in half and kind of, left to shower on the ground below. Like below, there's like trees that are just covered with, or not trees, but like large leaves and ferns and stuff that are just covered with blood. And it looks like whatever did this was a much larger force than the grung that were present, and much more capable. Whatever sharp implements they utilized to cut the tree, looks like they did it very swiftly. Yeah, based on what you're kind of looking at here, this is very fresh.
I would just take a moment to gather up some of the big leaves and place them over the bodies before we move on.
Okay. As you're kind of going through this ritual process, what are you doing, Jeremy?
I'll give a moment of silence and watch the tree line.
Okay.
In case there are survivors or
Jody,
people looking for revenge.
with your glasses, the trees definitely kind of have an essence of primal magic. Primal magics kind of glow with a bit more kind of rawness. But yeah, the trees, all three of them, look like they kind of have a primal energy that's slowly kind of leaking out up into the ether. If you've ever seen Princess Mononoke, it's kind of like when the he gets his head cut off at the end, and it's kind of just leaking up into the air.
Yeah. I would honestly want to hide and kind of keep an eye out.
Okay. Brent, what's Ruthlin doing?
I'll help Brock with the covering of the bodies and stuff like that.
Steve?
Sorry, the bodies were grung?
Yeah. Looks like the tribe that that Andy was leaving messages for and they were seeking out. He found them and they're all dead.
And the dryad is withering away?
No, dead. Yeah.
Oh, it's dead. You said she's made of wood, right?
Well, you didn't actually see her. Only Grok saw the body of the woman. It was a manifestation that he could see.
You and Zach are still on the mission too.
We see a bunch of dead grung sort of scattered amongst the trees.
You up in the trees. It looks like some superior force was up in the trees fighting them, cutting 4 of them in half at a single blow, or smashing their faces into the trees and kind of just... If you've seen Attack on Titan, just think of the aftermath of like the female Titan. That's literally... Or if you've seen Ninja Scroll, it's like the aftermath of the ninja party that fought the dude with the double blade.
That seems awful.
It's horrible, but they're all frogs, so it's even more awful. Because they're cute frog guys, and they're just obliterated.
They are cute.
They're so fucking adorable.
Not to be out of context or anything, but at least now somebody can have some frog legs.
No. Don't eat
and the oak trees are... The oak trees are just stumps now?
Yeah, you're kind of coming towards it at the end. You're up in the tree, so you're looking down at it, and you would see that there's 3 trees in the center of this kind of grove, this little glade here, and it looks like they've been kind of cut down very unceremoniously.
I see.
Are we still mind linked?
Mm-hmm. I would assume he's... what's the level of rares?
Level? It's an hour.
Well, what level spell is it, I'm asking?
4?
Are you wanting to cast it more than once? Just the one time you had it up? No?
You don't have to. I was just curious.
Probably hold up.
I'm sorry. It is not 4. It is 5.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's only been like 3 or 4 hours.
It took us 1 hour to catch them, he said.
It's a ritual. You can cast it without spending a slot. And you can do so if you just take 10 minutes down every hour, if that's something you want to do. And you gain that slot back from before, too.
I did. I just popped it.
It's fine. Okay. I think I've asked everybody. Oh, Zach, sorry, you're the last one. What are you doing?
I will, if I feel confident in the stealth, I would scout ahead slightly, not getting more than... I'd say a couple 100 feet away from the others.
Okay. All right. So if you said you were keeping an eye out, make a perception roll. If you said you were hiding, make a stealth roll. If you said you were doing kind of just last rites and kind of ceremonial stuff, you're not needing to make a roll. And yeah, I just need those rolls out.
Should I do stealth and perception?
You said you were hiding out and kind of keeping an eye out. Is that what you said?
I was scouting ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but just a stealth check.
I'll use
I'll give-
inspiration. I'll use
Okay.
inspiration.
So I'll
That's a 29. I was like, 17's a little iffy.
All right. Benson kind of nervously moves away, finds a place on the outskirts of the grove, and kind of hides away. The crow kind of looking down from the situation as Kissinger kind of flies off towards the other side of the grove to scout ahead. He keeps an eye on it, and he can actually see something approaching from basically where Master Vester is kind of coming. Zadok, Mishrael also sees it kind of approaching as well. And you very quickly notice that a very large creature, somewhere in the 12 to 15 foot height range, kind of steps out of the forest. In one hand, he has a massive curved blade with rings along the back end of it. His skin is bright blue, and he kind of has like oily black hair that's been kind of pulled back into like a big puff of a ponytail. And his kind of yellowish eyes with red irises kind of move to look at Master Vester. And as he kind of sees you, kind of raises...
Oh, he spotted me?
Well, yeah, he's just kind of coming out to the grove. He kind of comes out and sees you.
Shit.
Oh, sorry, you got a 29 on your...
Beat at 29?
No, apologies.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry, not Vester. Sorry, the persons who were standing in the center. So, Master Vester, you kind of get past him and hide.
He and I lock eyes.
And see him kind of moving out into the grove. So you kind of two ships in the night kind of situation.
Perfect.
I will make sure that the battle map reflects that. But yeah, you see him kind of come out, raise his hand up, and says, "More fun," and then his hand ignites with fire. And that is where we'll end this session, and we'll pick up next week with you fighting Renka.
Blue
Like
people
a guaranteed fight.
Ranka.
Thanks for watching those that did. We'll see you next time.
It's pronounced